Now, how the heck am I going to get out of here?
Hey YouTubers, it's RC Mike with you with the Axial Wraith 1.9 version. We've been anticipating this thing for a long time. I'm kind of surprised Axial waited as long as they did to produce this 1.9 version. It's kind of an exciting change to the existing Axial Wraith platform that they put this 1.9 version together finally. So anyway, we're going to just do a quick unbox and give you a look at what's inside and what you get. So without that, we will get started here. So anyway, we're going to see what we have in this box, and typical Axial stuff. They'll give you a bag of parts. We'll open that real quick just so you can kind of see what's in there. The trailing arms are a little different than what they've been using. These feel nice and rigid. It seems like they'll work pretty good. And they give you some neat little engine detail pieces, which is kind of neat. A couple of driver heads, which is nice. Looks like the original Wraith bumper that they gave you, which is kind of nice. And then a couple of axle tubes, a frame brace there. Not sure what that piece is, but and then a couple of shock parts. So anyway, you got a few little parts and pieces that come in the box, which are kind of nice to get some extra little accessories and parts. Axial's using this new Spectrum radio. I've got another car that utilizes this STX2 radio. Honestly, at this level of car, I personally wouldn't run this, but to test the car, and that's it. The radio feels toyish. A lot of guys are saying it, works, and it works, but honestly, if they could have saved $10 and given you a bind-ready car, it would have been better than this radio. This is really a really, entry-level feeling radio. It's way bigger than it needs to be. The grip is pretty small. It's designed for like very small hands. So if you bought the car for a kid or something, this might work. But the wheel feels kind of terrible, but it is a 2.4 radio. It could be used for something else if you wanted to do that, but honestly, I'd have been just as happy with no radio compared to this radio. I know guys are talking like it's something special, but it feels terrible, and that's just my opinion. I've been doing this over 30 years, and some of these guys are talking like it's the greatest thing ever, and honestly, it's not. It feels awful, but that's just my opinion. To the radios I've had, you can get a FlySky GT3B that feels twice as good as this does. So for $40. So I mean, and with more options. So this radio might be cool to put in some of their car or something, in my opinion, but that's just me. I'm sure it works fine for the car if you're not going to get into modifying it at all, but honestly, just go ahead and throw that away. So moving on to the manual. Sometimes ready to run cars come with a user's guide, but not a builder's guide. So we'll see what we get here. A user's guide is basically just to help you get the car started and get it working, whereas a builder's guide or manual is a step-by-step manual to tell you how to put the car together, and this is a user's manual. So if you want to take the car apart, this is not going to help you put it back together. It doesn't have a step-by-step guide on how to put it back together. There's just a lot of information in here that talks about batteries and warnings and cautionary things, and you should read it, but the downside is every other Axial car comes with a builder's manual, so you can actually put the car together from scratch, which this is not. So that's kind of a bummer, but you might be able to download their instruction manual or builder's manual online. I don't know. I haven't looked. So anyway, with that, we'll get to the car here. A couple of interesting features about this thing, which we'll show you here. We did get the orange one. It's kind of a flat finish orange, and we're going to get this thing out of here. It's boxed fairly well. It looks like it's fairly safe. You know, as it goes through shipping and gets thrown around and beat up a little. We'll get this out of here and give this thing a look at. So right off the bat, it's typical Wraith style, which is really great. This car is really been a great car, platform, chassis, scale looking vehicle since day one when it first came out. So one of the things that pops out right off the bat is this Lexan Body is painted on the outside, which is kind of interesting. That's not something that's normal. So we have a silver interior, which is painted on the inside of the body, which is typical of Lexan, and then they've sprayed the outside of the body with the actual orange color, which is kind of interesting. That's generally not what is done. However, you know, if you scratch this or something, you'll see the silver underneath to make it kind of appear like you've scratched into the steel or something like that. But anyway, very interesting. So the next interesting thing is this pop-up hood, which a lot of guys that have had Wraiths before did this mod with the original Wraith. This is really a nice modification to be able to put your battery inside here, and rather than back here where it was designed to go, which is back inside here. You don't want a bunch of weight in the back, you know, so they've already done that modification where the battery is going to sit right up in front here, which is really, really nice. Why they didn't do that with the other one, I don't know, but you know, everybody was doing the modification to get this battery up forward, and it really makes a big difference. And then, of course, they did some detailing stuff with the receiver box, which is kind of cool, I guess. A little bit of scale realism. It's under the hood, so you're not going to get to see that a whole lot, but it's there, and it's something different. The car comes with lights, LEDs, and the new speed control, which I believe is the AE5L, I believe, and I think that L stands for lights or LED. It has a plug that is already pre-done, so you can just plug it into the speed control. It does have the original Tactic TSX45 servo. It's okay until you get into, putting weight in the wheels or trying to run bigger tires or really trying to push this thing in places that are a little tighter than what you would normally experience. But that servo does work. It just it's not the most powerful that you're going to see out there. And like I say, once you get the wheels stuck in something, that servo might kind of not be enough. But with that, the suspension feels really smooth. The shocks feel really good. The oil weight seems right. The articulation for a 1.9 is actually really good. Be interesting to see how much body scrub we're going to have. It looks like it will scrub a little bit of the frame and possibly the body, but and the tires, they're not their most they're not the softest compound they make, but they do feel pretty good. The tires are also glued onto their, basically just a glue-on rim. Axial used to put beadlocks on all their cars, and they kind of got away from that for a while. Out of the box, if you just want to drive it like it is, it's totally fine. If you want to make it, do better on the trail and climb better, you want to weight the insides of these rims. So with this kit, unless you want to take the time and energy to de-bead this tire off that rim, which is a lot of work, you're gonna have to get another set of rims and tires. So that's kind of a downside to this level of car, but it's definitely a con for me as far as these rims. If they would have just left it unglued, then it would have been fine. But if you bought this kit for a kid, he's not going to know how to glue those on or why they were left unglued. And if you run it without it being glued, the tires will just fall off, and somebody's going to have a bad experience, which is not so great. So anyway, it is what it is. If you want to, get the car to do something more, you're going to have to get some new rims and tires anyway.
Go full speed. Well, it's geared pretty low, actually. That is definitely a trail speed.
Yeah, for once.
Yeah, usually they're geared too high.